Hi everyone, and welcome to another edition of Mrs. Cford Vlogs. I'm Stephanie Crawford, and I'm happy to have you here with me. Today I want to talk a little bit about something that is related to sketchnotes, but it's a little bit different. It is Inktober. So if you've never heard of Inktober, it was actually created in 2009 by Jake Parker. He created it because he wanted to make sure he was getting practice using his drawing skills to get better by having some consistent practice. And so in order to do that, he decided to start this challenge where you could do one ink drawing every day and post it to social media with the hashtag Inktober, or you could do what he calls the half marathon, where you could do every other day, or he even talks about the 5K where you do once a week. He talks about just being consistent with using your drawing to get your skills better. So for an artist, that's great, and practice, we know, even in education, always makes us better at whatever skill we're trying to learn. But I was thinking about how Inktober could be applied to class after a TLAP Twitter chat where they were talking specifically about Inktober because it's the start of October right now. But what I was thinking was it holds so many possibilities for visual literacy and even for a gamified classroom. So in a gamified classroom, you could use this to be a side quest. You could use it as a scavenger hunt. So let's back up a little bit and look at what it is. Inktober has a list of prompts for every day of the month. For each of those prompts, you would do a drawing. Now, if you're using it in a gamified classroom in a scavenger hunt way, maybe your word is in a place that makes sense with the word. So, for instance, with our first word here, poisonous, maybe you have to go into, you have clues that point you to the science room where you have chemicals. And on the cabinet, there is a clue. And when they get in the envelope, they see that they're going to have the word poisonous that they have to make a sketch for. So then after they do that, their next clue that they get would take them to the next place. So the next word is tranquil. So maybe tranquil takes them to the library because that's a tranquil place in a school, right? And when they get there, their whatever clues you provided to lead them to the library, they find the word tranquil, they make their drawing, their sketch, and then they have another clue that leads them on. This could be done in teams. Maybe you divide the list up. You could also use it as a side quest where they have to every day find the new word that's released and make their drawing, but maybe they have to make it into like one continuous idea, or maybe, here's how we adapt it to content, they take those words and almost like we can do with story cubes where we say, okay, here's what was rolled on the story cube, now make it fit your content. Here's the word, make it fit what you're studying. So how does poisonous fit in with what we're studying in social studies? How does poisonous fit in with what we're studying about in lit? You can adapt it that way because now they're having to use those critical thinking skills. They're taking that word and now they're figuring out how it works with it. And then you can still have that drawing component illustrate what you mean. How did you fit it in with that content? Give an illustration to go with it. So you're getting them to practice those visual libraries so that they can feel better about producing drawings. So they get both sides of their brain working, the text with what they're writing, and then the images with what they're drawing. You can also do something like a pass the sketchnote type activity, but you could call it pass the ink. One person would start and do their drawing, and the next person could pass it on and add to it. You can also do an activity where you give someone 3 words And if you're talking about narratives, they would have to maybe do a sketch for it, for those 3 words. And then they pass it on, and the next person is able to write a sentence that starts a story for those 3 words. And then you could build on that activity with narrative writing. The possibilities seem endless for an activity with Inktober. You could do sticky notes where you have them each give each student a word from the Inktober list. On the top of their sticky note, they would write that word, they would put their image, and then at the end, they would all combine them to tell a story, to put it in order, to fill out details. Again, this could relate to your content because you could make them, put them in groups. Like, okay, show me how this relates to this character in the story that we're reading. Or show me how this relates to the theory we're studying in science. Or show me how this relates to the historical time period we're studying about in social studies. Or the leader that we're talking about in social studies. So you can apply it in very different ways where you're still engaging both sides of the brain, you're still practicing your content and those skills, and you're giving kind of a fun activity, something a little bit different outside the box thinking. And again, modify it and put it into your gamified classroom. If you use Inktober in your classroom, I'd love for you to let us know how it goes and drop your ideas if you have some additional ones. If you try it, I hope you'll come back and let us know how it goes for you. And as always, if you enjoyed what you saw, please consider liking and subscribing. It's very simple to do. And we'll see you next time on Mrs. Cford Vlogs.